multiplying fractions meant to, yes. Okay, so just as a review from the last section, if we were doing something like this, kind of the guide that I had given you guys was to say, well, if you ever have a mixed number, you have to make sure you turn that mixed number into an improper, right? So this would be 3/4 times what?
3/2.
Times 3/2. Now, rules of multiplication, simply multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. So what do you have up top? 9.
8.
Okay. And guys, we can probably simplify this mentally, but I've been telling you guys, go into your simplifying fractions. So in simplifying fractions right here, by the way, what's 9/8 going to be? How many times will 8 go into 9? 1, so what's your remainder going to be? So 1 and 1/8, right? I've been telling you guys all to go.
In calculator soup.
Yeah. This one? So right here we would have put a 9 in there, right? And the bottom you would have put an 8, and we used to ask yourself to calculate this. Answer-wise, with 9/8 in true and proper form, it's still simplified, but mixed number form you would have had 1 and 1/8 right here, right? Okay. Well, guys, today what we're going to start looking at is just the opposite of multiplication, which is what? Division. Okay. And in our notes today, guys, 5.5 is talking just about that, dividing fractions. Now, the goal that we're looking at says to divide fractions by what? What's that say right there? Divide fractions by what?
Multiplied by the
Reciprocal.
Okay, divide fractions by multiplying by, that word is reciprocal. Okay? So it looks like we're going to turn, if I understand this correctly, in this goal, it looks like we're going to turn division into some form of what here?
Multiplication.
Multiplication of the reciprocal. Okay. Up there's a recall. It says recall. A reciprocal is when two non-zero numbers, and I should say multiply to 1 there, but I guess that the best thing I'll tell you is this. I don't like that definition. For reciprocals, what I do like is this, and you might want to jot this down. For reciprocals, what I like to say is this. Switch the numerator with the, anybody got to guess what the second word's going to be? Switch the numerator with the
Denominator.
The denominator, you bet. Switch the numerator with the denominator. That's what it means to reciprocate stuff. So maybe if I put it in, that form right there where I say switch the numerator with the denominator, we would understand that a little bit better. So here's a question for you. In switching the numerator with the denominator, here's a fraction. Here's a fraction. Let's just use the one that I originally had, 3/4. What would I say the reciprocal is?
Oh, really? So you're saying that we need to divide fractions?
What would I say the reciprocal is of 3/4? Somebody said it over in this corner. 4/3. Yep. I'm going to move the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom. So I would say the reciprocal is 4/3. All right. All right. So that's good to know. That's easy, right? That's pretty easy, isn't it? What if I give you a situation like this and say, hey, here's a fraction, actually a mixed number. Let's go maybe 2 and 3/5. And the question would become, what's the reciprocal of 2 and 3/5? Well, in order to find a reciprocal of 2 3/5, we would have to turn this into an improper fraction first. So what does 2 3/5 equal as an improper, first of all? 13 over 5. Okay? So 2 3/5 as an improper is 13 over 5, which would make then the reciprocal what value?
5 over 13.
Reciprocal is 5 over 13. So if I say, what is the reciprocal of 2 3/5, you know what to do, right? Turn mixed numbers into impropers and then switch your numerator and denominator around once you've got them. Okay, so that we all understand what a reciprocal is. I have one last question. I'm not going to put it up here in the notes. I'll put it off to the side here on a dry marker. But what if I had this as a value? What's the reciprocal of 6?
1 over 6.
Why 1/6?
Because it would be 6 over 1.
Yep, 6 in rational form, like we've talked about in the past, is the same as 6 over 1. I can express 6 as a rational number by writing it as 6 over 1. So the reciprocal of 6 over 1 would be 1/6. Okay, do we understand what a reciprocal is? All right. Well, this is where we get into this idea of dividing by fractions. Okay? Now, I want to put a table up here and show you why this is the way it is. But maybe I shouldn't. I'm going to go with it. You don't have to write this down. Just pay attention, okay? I'm going to use numbers that are bases of 2.
Okay.
What's 16 divided by 16 equal?
1.
Okay? I'm going to do this now. I'm going to take 16 and divide it by 8. What do you get here? Get 2, right? Let's go 16 maybe divided by 4.
4.
Let's go 16 divided by 2.
8.
You guys seeing a pattern here at all?
Yeah.
What am I doing with this column right here? What am I doing with that column right there?
You're
Lowering them. We're cutting them in half each time, right?
Yeah.
As I cut them in half each time, what's happening to my quotient over here and this column? Well, it's getting bigger, so let's do this. Next one will be 16 divided by 1, right? Well, if my pattern holds true, this got cut in half to 1, the 8 should probably double to what? Oh, okay. Well, this is where we start running into messes like this. All of a sudden, we've got this 16. Here's a question. What's half of 1? 16 divided by 1 half. My pattern here, what should this equal over here? What should that equal? These numbers right here in this first column, all getting cut in half.
32.
These numbers are all doubling, right? So the 16 should double to what next? Okay, so we're saying 16 divided by a half, not times a half. If I was multiplying, this would go down to 8, right? But dividing by half makes 16 become a bigger value, right? Let's just confirm this here quickly. You guys buy that 1/2 as a decimal is 0.5, right? Would you agree that right here this is the same as 0.5?
Yeah.
So let's just double check that 16 divided by a half is 32. You guys agree that I punched in 16 divided by 0.5? What did I get? Here's the deal. You have 16 pies, right? There's 16 pies in this table. I don't care what flavor they are. You choose. You think about it, okay? Now you're thinking about lunch. Well, here's the deal. How many halves are in one whole pie? How many halves are in one whole pie, guys? There's 2 halves, right? If there's 2 halves
there is.
in one whole pie, and you've got 16 pies, how many halves do you have then?
1/2.
Think about it. There's
2
2 halves in a pie, right? And
3
there's
halves.
16 total pies. How many total halves do you have then?
2.
8.
32.
32. There's 2 for each one of them, right? So 2 times 16. So this idea right here of dividing by fractions right here, watch what I do here. This idea of dividing by fractions is the same as taking 16 times what value? 16 times what would make 32? Not 0.5, but 16
2.
times
Oh,
2 would equal 32,
Okay,
right?
that was my line, Mesa.
Okay, here's a question. How would you relate 1/2 and 2? I would say 1/2 is a blank of 2.
2 and 1.
Okay, I agree with you. I agree, there's 2 halves in a whole. Okay, but listen to my statement right here. The 1/2 and the 2 that I've marked right there, I would say 1/2 is a, what was the word we used in the beginning? Somebody said it. 1/2 is a reciprocal of 2. Do you guys agree that right here, when we want 16 divided by 1/2, it's really the same as 16 times 2 because each result got you what value here? Each result got us what? 32, okay? So it looks like to me dividing by fractions is the same as, let's see, we turn division into what here? Multiplication of the, how are these two related again?
Opposites, which make them.
What's the word? Okay, multiplication of the reciprocal here, all right? So back here, looking at our goal right here, guys, it says, our goal, divide fractions by, what's the phrase right here? Multiplying by the reciprocal, okay? So here we go. Let's take a look at an example. It says rules for dividing fractions. It says when dividing fractions, we simply multiply by the reciprocal. And the first example I have down here is this. Now, when you're doing this, you will never change the very first value. It always stays the same. What you will do, though, is this. Dividing by fractions means turn division into what? Multiplication. We're going to turn this to multiplication. And then whatever comes right after a division sign, if you change division to multiplication, you have to reciprocate the value right after that sign. So if I'm saying 3/4 divided by 1/2, that's really the same as 3/4 times what fraction again? 2 over 1. All right, this is where you reciprocate. Do you change the first one? No. Well, don't we know how to multiply fractions now? Okay, help me out here. What's the tops get you? What's the bottom get you? Okay, I think we can work this one mentally instead of using the calculator. How many times is 4 going to go into 6? Once. What would your remainder be? So 1 2/4. How about that fraction part of my mixed number? 1 1/2. So 3/4, guys, divided by 1/2. 3/4 divided by 1/2 is the same as what value? 1 1/2. And I'll just confirm this here, guys. I have my calculator. I'm going to go 3 divided by 4 in parentheses. Okay, that's 3/4. And then we're going to divide this by 1/2, right? 1/2, right? What do I get here? 1.5. Is that the same as 1.5 here?
Yes,
All right.
it is.
So guys, rule. When you're dividing by fractions, you're going to change the division to what? Multiplication, and then after you change that part, after the division signs, you use the...
Reciprocal.
Okay, so let's look at another example here. Next page. The idea is going to apply to mixed numbers. This didn't show up very well for me, so I'm going to rewrite it. This is really saying 3 1/3 divided by 2 3/4. Okay? Well, I think it would be a good idea to turn every mixed number into impropers. Okay? So help me here, guys. What's the first improper going to look like? 10 over 3 divided by 11 over. Okay. So instead of division of mixed numbers, the division of improper fractions looks like this. All right. So by rule, what am I going to do now? Next step. Am I going to reciprocate both? Second one. So I'm going to rewrite this as 10/3. Okay. What do you want to do after the 10/3? times. And think about it, guys.
4
Isn't multiplication kind of the opposite of division? And isn't a reciprocal kind of the opposite of the original fraction? So basically, it's kind of like and I'm not going to confuse you with this, but it's like saying a double negative is a positive, right? A double negative is like two opposites, right? Two
Yes,
opposites
it
is like
is.
the right thing. Okay? So we're going to change this division to times, and then times what, gang?
times 4
4 11s. Okay. Let's rock this out. Up top, what's your new numerator? 40. 33. All right, so just as a reminder, again, I could probably do this one mentally. Anybody do this mentally? Should be able to. How many times is 33 going to run into 40? Once. How about a remainder? So 1 and 7/33. We're good there. Okay, and again, just a reminder, don't forget about your tool for simplifying. Is there an excuse not to simplify anymore? What, John?
7/34.
7/33. Okay. Is there an excuse not to simplify anymore?
Yes.
What is it?
Just kidding.
All right.
I'm sorry that I did it.
Reset this
With
here.
a person, I'm sorry.
You're fine. Oops.
It's your funeral.
Not sure what's going on here. We'll reset this. And all right. So what was the fraction again? Gosh damn, what is going on here?
As of your temper.
What was the numerator again, guys? 40?
40 over 33.
Okay, so again, there's absolutely no reason not to have simplest form right here anymore, okay? 1 and 7/33. Are we confirming what we already knew right here? Yeah, okay? So no reason not to simplify anymore. All right, take about 2 or 3 minutes, give these a shot on your own. Remember down here, be careful on mixed numbers that are negative. Again, I know that it's negative, but can I take 4 times -2 right here? Or do I take 4 times 2 first?
What?
Which is it? Yeah, forget the negative for now. Turn that into an improper, and then put your negative at the top. All right? So take a minute, get those completed. Simplest form, please. Somebody turned to page 285, and but that would have been the other class. Never mind. Yeah.
Simplify it. This is we go for it. Number 1.
Yeah.
36 over 56. 1 and 1/8. Everyone answer. Which person is the answer for number 1 on your own is 1/8. That is C.
It's a 5.2 through 5.6. I know you got to test
did. I'm sorry. Sorry, I got it wrong. So, were they deciding where they didn't you have 4 of us to do each one?
Use more time.
I did.
About a minute.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I have to hurry, I have to hurry. Where's my calculator? Where is it? No! There's no time!
There you go.
Okay, you caught me.
Alright guys, you're gonna read the props. I'm gonna move to a blank page so I've got some more room to work here. But the first one was 4 7s divided by 8 9s. What did you call that? 4 7s times what?
Oh. 90.
Okay, so up top, what would you have?
36.
And then on the bottom, how about a denominator?
56.
56. And in simplest form, where did you end?
914.
I'm at 9/14 there. Okay. Is there anything really any different than what we've been doing? Nothing different, really. We're just applying a new rule, right? Okay. So you've got 9/14. Okay, good. Second problem over here. Kyle, you read that second one for me? What did it say?
5, negative 5 over 12.
Negative 5 over 12 divided by
5
5
over 24.
over 24.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the answer number 2? Is it 2?
Let's check it and see. So I've got negative 5 over 12. I'm going to change my division to what? Times. And then what are you going to have for your second fraction? 24 over 5. Okay. I believe you get negative 120 up top and 60 on the bottom. Everybody agree? Okay, so when you simplified that, what'd you end up with?
Negative 2.
Yeah, negative 2 was correct. Good. So go back to this page right here. I'm going to write down the first 2 answers. What do we get here? And this was negative 2. Okay. My next one here, guys, let's see. What's 10 times 4? 40, wasn't it?
Oh,
47 over
And
10 divided by, all right, this is where I go 2 times 4, which is 8 plus 3 would be,
11.
however, what kind of 11, gang?
Negative.
So negative 11 over 4. Okay, so I'm going to call this 47 over 10 times negative 4 over 11. I like to leave my negatives up top. You don't really have to move negative. If you move
What
the
is
negative
that?
to the bottom, it's A-okay. Okay. Boy, 47 times 4. Is that 188? Okay, so negative 188 over 110. That number, negative 188, is kind of a, that's kind of a funny number to me today. The catch, the one catch they took away from number 88 yesterday. That was.
I think you put 100 instead of 110 on the bottom.
Oh yeah, right. Because Dad's always gives 110%,
That's right.
but it doesn't matter because the NFL is Packer biased. So.
Didn't they get a call like that last year, like a catch that wasn't a catch?
I think it was Calvin Johnson did it against the
Who's Johnson?
the Bears again in a game or something
No,
like that.
it was against the Cardinals in a playoff game. It was like he had his hands on the ball, but he had one hand on the ball and they gave him a touchdown for it.
I don't remember
It was
that
like
one.
a clean interception, but they didn't give it to him.
Well, that was the Green Bay game, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a couple years
Yeah.
ago, Green Bay
Heck,
just gets
Green
all the
Bay.
good calls.
All right. Ah.
Are you okay, Mr. Person? Come on, you can tell me.
Up until that call, I was okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, what did we have up top? Negative 188. And on the bottom, 110.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do I want to put down for an answer in simplest form there?
Oh, negative 1, 39.
Negative 1 and 39/55. Okay. Again, use the calculator. We've done simplifying fractions. We should know how to do that. I'm just using this to say, hey, let's save some time and simplify stuff. But again, you still have to have the right process to plug these numbers in up here, right?
Fine, Isaac.
Okay. So I'll come back to this page here, and Mason, you want to remind me what that answer was one more time?
Negative 1 and 39/55.
Very good. Hey, I don't want to talk on this last one. I'd like to hear somebody else talk me through this last one. Whoa, that looks like a goofy circle. Okay, very good. All right, how about somebody different than to talk me through the last one? Somebody help me out. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? I love it. All the heads are down. No one's. Don't make eye contact with me, Parson. Don't you dare look at me. Max, you want to help me, buddy? Talk me through it. I know you know what you're doing here. Okay, what am I going to do first here, kiddo? Okay, forget the negative for now. So what is that, 3 and 4? And one more? So I've got negative 13 over what, Max? Good. And then this will be divided by what? Okay, good start. Now what, Max? What are you going to do right here?
Flip to the top.
And how about the sign between those two fractions now? Yep, good. So what'd you have on top there, Max? Okay, I think you can do it. What's 13 times 2? Okay, so up top we have negative 26, right, kiddo?
Okay.
And then how about your bottom?
Sorry, my bad.
11 times. How much again?
44.
Good. All right, so go ahead and simplify that for me. Tell me where you're at.
I think 13. negative 13 over negative 22.
What'd you get?
Negative 13.
Negative 13 over 22. Excellent, Max. Good to go on that, kiddo? Good job. Negative 13 over 22. So guys, again, if I had to say, hey, what's the rule for dividing fractions? You would say, well, you simply change division to multiplication of the reciprocal. So if you were on $1 Million Game, you wouldn't need to phone a friend. You wouldn't need to do 50-50. The option came up. Division of fractions is the same as A, B, C, or D. Part C says multiplied by the reciprocal. You know that. All right, good. Hey, I want to show you one last thing here. Maybe make a note at the bottom of this page. I'll try to squeeze it in here. Sometimes you'll see a problem that looks like this. 3/4 divided by 1/2 divided by 1/8. Ooh, how many division signs are in there?
3, 2.
There's 2 division signs, right? So how many times are you going to have to change division to multiplication? 2 times, right? So if I'm changing 2 signs, that means you better change how many fractions? 2 fractions. Which fractions do you think are going to get changed there? 1/2 and 1/8. The leading fraction will always, always, always stay
The
the
same.
same. Anything after a division sign will change, because anything after a division sign will change to multiplication of the reciprocal. Okay, so the leading fraction will always, always change. So that would really be the same as 3/4 times what first? 2 over 1 times 8 over 1. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms, you're on your way. Okay, good. Let's look at one practical problem here quickly then. Apply this stuff. Last example. I'll put the book page down again. Example 3 talks about dividing a whole number by a mixed number. Okay? Says you have 2 dogs that eat 1 1/5 pounds of dog food per day. How many days will a 5-pound bag of dog food last? Okay? Let's talk about this. First things first. How much dog food do you have? 5 pounds. Okay? You have how many dogs right here? Yeah, 2 dogs that eat 1 1/5 pounds per day. So each day you're getting rid of how much? 1 1/5 pounds, right? Okay, they're not saying each dog is eating 1 pound and 1/5. They're saying together the 2 dogs collectively are eating 1 1/5 pounds. Okay. How much dog food did you start out with? Okay, we're starting out with 5 pounds. Okay. We want to know how many days that's going to last. Here's the deal. If I told you I had 10 oranges and I eat 2 a day, how many days do my oranges last? 5. You took the 10 oranges and divided by the number I eat, or the amount I eat each day. 10 divided by 2 is 5, right? Guys, how many pounds am I starting with in this problem? That's like the 10 oranges I started with, right? How many pounds are being consumed each day? That's like the 2 oranges I'm consuming each day, right? To know how many days this is going to last, wouldn't I take 5 and divide it by 1 1/5?
Yeah.
I would, wouldn't I? That's going to tell me how many days it lasts. You have 5 pounds of dog food. Each day, 1 1/5 pounds disappears. Okay? Well, how many days is that going to last? No, help me out here. 5 is really the same as 5 over 1, isn't it? The 5 pounds we're starting with is really the same as 5 over 1, right? What's 1 1/5 pounds going to look like as an improper? How much? 6/5. Okay? Although this is a division problem, we better turn that into multiplication now. So this is like 5 over 1 times what? 5 over 1 times what? 5/6. Okay, up top, what do you get? On the bottom, what do you got? Okay, somebody run that in your calculator. What do you get there?
4 and 1/6.
4 and 1/6. Food's gonna last 4 and 1/6 of a day. Now, I want to think about this practically. 4 and 6 days, I should say. What's going to end up happening here, guys, is this. You're going to get 4 full days of 1 pound and 1/5 for each dog to eat, but that last day, you could really only account for 1/6 of a day. So the question becomes this. How many whole days, or how many days do they get the whole amount of food? Really, 4 days, right? Okay? It's just like feeding a dog. All of a sudden you get down to the very end and you've got a very little bit left and you give them less on that day when you run out than you would days before. That makes sense? Okay. So don't take this out of context. Yes, this is the answer, but you've only got enough food. You've only got enough food for, I want to say whole feedings. For whole feedings, enough for whole feedings. How many pounds each day? How many pounds each day? 1 1/5 pounds for 4 days here. Okay. The answer was 4 and 6, but practically it's saying, you know what? I can only give 1 pound and 1/5 to my dogs for 4 days. Are you okay with that? Okay. Somebody read the assignment back to me. I guess I should slow down. Everybody have this down first of all? Anybody have any questions about anything? Whole idea today, dividing fractions, multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? All right, real quickly, remind me of the assignment again.
Page 807, 29 through 32.
Put a Wednesday on that. Okay? Put a Wednesday on this as a due date.